I never thought silence could scream so loudly. The rain crashed against my window, drowning out the sound of my own sobs. My reflection in the glass looked like a stranger, eyes swollen, lips trembling, mascara running down my face like ink bleeding from a ruined page. I sat on the cold floor, surrounded by the fragments of my life, shattered photographs, torn letters, and the last piece of me that still believed she loved me, my mother. Or at least, the woman I thought was my mother. She had finally done it. She threw me out of the only home I had ever known. The words still echoed in my head, sharp, venomous, final. You are not my daughter. You are nothing to me. I remembered standing there, drenched in the rain with my bag in my hand, and her eyes, so cold, so satisfied, watching me leave. My stepfather didn't look at me. My brother turned his back. They all believed her lies, every single one of them. I walked for hours that night, barefoot, numb. My heart wasn't just broken, it was crushed, ground to dust beneath the weight of betrayal. But somewhere between those empty streets and the endless rain, something inside me changed. I decided that if she had destroyed me, I would rebuild myself, stronger, sharper, colder, and when the time came, I would return. Not as the broken girl she threw away, but as the woman she could never control again. My name is Ava, and it all started when my father died when I was a kid. Growing up, I thought all mothers were like mine, distant, cruel, unpredictable. I used to watch my friends at school hugging their moms after class, laughing, sharing secrets. I never understood it. My mother never hugged me. She never told me she loved me. When I was little, I used to draw pictures and leave them on her table, hoping she'd smile. Instead, she'd crumple them up and say, "Stop wasting time, Ava. You're not good at anything." She'd say it like it was a fact, cold, ordinary, emotionless. And I believed her. My stepfather always took her side. If I cried, he told me to grow up. My brother followed their example. It was as if I didn't belong there at all. But I tried. God, I tried. I got good grades. I cleaned the house. I did everything she asked, but it was never enough. If I made one small mistake, one plate broken, one report card not perfect, she'd snap. Sometimes it was just words. Other times it was worse. There was one night I'll never forget. I must have been 12. She had guests over, important people from my stepfather's company. I accidentally spilled wine on her dress. Her smile froze, her eyes darkened, and when everyone left, she slapped me so hard that I saw stars. "You embarrassed me, you worthless child," she hissed. "I should have left you at the hospital where I found you." At that time, I didn't understand what she meant, but those words would haunt me for years. As I grew older, things only got worse. Every success I had, she'd ruin it. Every joy, she'd steal it. When I got accepted into my dream university, she told everyone it was because of pity. When I got my first job, she made sure I quit by showing up at my workplace and humiliating me in front of everyone. "My daughter doesn't need to work," she told them. "She just needs to learn manners." My family believed her version of everything. If she said I was ungrateful, they nodded. If she said I was a liar, they agreed. It felt like drowning while everyone stood and watched. Then one night, it all fell apart. She accused me of stealing money from her. I hadn't. I swore I hadn't, but no one cared. My stepfather shouted, my brother glared, and my mother, she just smiled. A smile so cruel, so victorious. And then she said those words, "Get out. You're no longer my daughter." That was the night I broke down. That was the night Ava died. And someone new began to rise. After months of trying to rebuild myself, I began working at a small cafe downtown to pay rent. The days blurred into each other, serving coffee, studying at night, dreaming of a life that no longer felt possible. I'd stopped believing that good things could happen to me. Until one morning, he walked in. He looked out of place among the chatter and chaos. Sharp suit, calm eyes, a presence that drew attention without effort. He ordered black coffee, no sugar, no cream. When I handed him his cup, our fingers brushed, and for some reason, I couldn't look away. "Do you always look this sad when you serve people?" he asked softly, with a hint of a smile. I blinked, caught off guard. "Maybe. Depends on the people," he chuckled. "Then I'll come more often. Maybe I'll see you smile someday." And he did come back. Every morning, for weeks. His name was Nate Hayes, a young entrepreneur, quiet but confident, with a charismatic personality. We started talking about books, about dreams, about loss. For the first time, someone actually listened when I spoke. One night, as I was closing up, I saw him waiting outside in the rain with an umbrella. He walked me home, and we stopped by the park. He asked about my family. I froze. I didn't want to tell him, but something about his voice, so calm, made me whisper everything: the cruelty, the rejection, the lies. When I finished, I was crying, but he didn't pity me. He just said quietly, "You don't need them to define you, Ava. They broke you, yes, but they didn't end you." I laughed bitterly. "You make it sound easy." He smiled sadly. "It's not, but maybe you don't have to do it alone." For months, Nate and I worked in silence. Every night, our small apartment turned into a war room, filled with papers, recordings, and names of people my stepmother had deceived. She had built an empire on manipulation, charity scams, fake investments, stolen inheritances. Each secret we uncovered was like peeling off her mask, layer by layer, until the monster beneath began to show. Nate would stay up beside me, his laptop glowing in the dark. Sometimes he'd look at me with worry. "You don't have to go this far, Ava," he'd say quietly. But I did, because she had taken everything: my childhood, my family, my name, my peace. And I wanted her to feel what it meant to lose control. Nate helped me start a nonprofit organization, Aurora Foundation. On the surface, it supported women rebuilding their lives after trauma. In reality, it became the perfect trap, an irresistible opportunity for my stepmother to launder her charity money and fake donations. When she joined the project, thinking she could control it, I smiled to myself. She didn't even recognize the name Ava Rivers on the paperwork. She didn't recognize the voice that spoke politely over business calls, the same voice she once silenced. For months, I played my part, sweet, obedient, and invisible. She bragged in interviews about her partnership with the foundation, and every word, every transaction, every lie was being recorded. Then came the gala. The ballroom shimmered with gold and glass. Reporters, investors, politicians, everyone she had ever manipulated stood there, sipping champagne and praising her false kindness. She walked in like a queen, wrapped in diamonds, every step dripping with arrogance. I stood at the edge of the stage, my hands trembling slightly around the microphone. Nate's voice buzzed softly in my earpiece. "Are you ready?" I whispered. "I've been ready my whole life." When she took the stage to deliver her speech, I walked out from behind the curtains. The crowd gasped. Her eyes widened, confusion twisting into horror as recognition dawned. "Ava," she breathed, her voice breaking slightly. I smiled, calm, poised, untouchable. "Yes, your daughter, or should I say, Your greatest regret? The audience shifted uneasily. Whispers rippled through the room. You made me invisible, I said into the mic, voice trembling but strong. You took my family, my dignity, and told everyone I was worthless. But tonight, they'll see who you really are. Nate dimmed the lights. A massive screen behind us lit up, with evidence, videos, bank transfers, secret recordings. Her voice cold and clear. She's not my real daughter. She's just a burden I got stuck with. As long as she's gone, I'll have peace. The crowd went silent. Every secret she had buried was now alive, breathing in the room. She lunged toward me, screaming, You ungrateful little... Security stopped her before she could reach me. Reporters swarmed, cameras flashed, investors began whispering and walking out. Her empire, her perfect, polished life, shattered like glass around her. Nate walked up beside me, standing close, his hand brushing mine. You did it, he whispered, but tears filled my eyes. No, we did. Days later, headlines filled every screen. Socialite exposed for fraud. Stepdaughter reveals shocking truth behind philanthropist's empire. She lost everything. The house, the business, the people who once called her friend, and for the first time, she was alone. One evening, I went to see her. Not for vengeance, but closure. She was sitting in her empty mansion, her jewelry gone, her phone silent. When she saw me, she didn't shout this time. She just laughed bitterly. So this is your revenge, she said. Are you happy now? I stared at her for a long moment. No, I whispered. Just free. Her eyes filled with tears, maybe for herself, maybe for what she had lost. I destroyed you, she said softly. I shook my head. No, you created me and I walked away, her silence echoing behind me like a confession. That night, Nate and I sat by the ocean, the waves crashing softly under the moonlight. For the first time, I wasn't thinking about revenge or pain or her. I was thinking about me. Nate turned to me, brushing a strand of hair from my face. What now? He asked. I smiled faintly. Now I live. And I love. Without fear, he smiled back. Then that's the best revenge of all.